series yet. Monster Car continues Thursday at 8 on ITV4.
We're live for the Tour de France 2019 at 5:15 tomorrow as the race concludes across the cobbles of the Champs-Élysées. But now there's highlights from stage 20.
Coverage of the Tour de France is sponsored by Zwift, the training app where fun is fast.
With Egan Bernal and Simon Yates out front and Julian Alaphilippe desperately chasing to try to hold on to the yellow jersey, stage 19 was heading for a dramatic finish, just not the one we were expecting.
Radio that the race will be neutralised because of a hailstorm. The Director Sportifs are being instructed now by race radio to radio their riders and tell them to slow down because there is danger ahead on the road.
Good luck trying to slow down. He's right there. Alaphilippe's heard, so he's just shutting down. It's this race just gets crazier and crazier. Yeah,
this man has lost his jersey there potentially.
So this race couldn't get any madder. The race has been stopped. So that's it. So the finish of this stage Tour de France was atop the Col de Liseron, which means Egan Bernal is in the yellow jersey.
The race has been stopped. The times will be taken from the times at the top of the Liseron, and that is it.
It was, and it was more serious than the hail and slush first reported. The sudden storm, 14 kilometres from the finish, had caused a mudslide across the road. Christian Prudhomme himself pulled alongside the lead pair of Egan Bernal and Simon Yates to deliver the news, to their initial and understandable bafflement. The organisers had had no choice but to retrospectively freeze a fluid race at the point at which it crossed the summit of what was supposed to have been the penultimate climb, the Col de Liseron. Bernal had attacked on the Iseron, dropping the group containing all his rivals and his teammate Geraint Thomas. They in turn had dropped the race leader Julian Alaphilippe. Bernal reached the summit just ahead of Simon Yates, who'd been in the day's breakaway, with an advantage of 58 seconds on the favourites group and 2:07 on Julian Alaphilippe. Those time gaps produced this new top 10. Egan Bernal in the yellow jersey by 45 seconds from Julian Alaphilippe, who'd been leading the race since the end of stage 8. Geraint Thomas third at 1 minute 11, 12 seconds ahead of Steven Kruijswijk, with Emmanuel Buchmann another 27 seconds further back. Unable to get there by bike, the riders had to be driven up the final climb for the jersey presentations. The only one that had changed hands was the most important. Egan Bernal, leader of the Tour de France at the age of 22, and now favourite to be the youngest winner for 110 years. The magnitude of the moment overwhelmed him briefly, and he was still coming to terms with it when he spoke to Matt Rendle.
I don't imagine to take the yellow in this way, but yeah, I'm in yellow, and I'm really happy. For sure I want to win the race, but I'm happy already with what I do in this tour. I'm just 22 years old, and I am in yellow, so it's incredible. I came here to help G, and then he gave me the opportunity to go in every mountain stage. So yeah, I don't know what to say.
With one racing stage left, Egan Bernal was 130 kilometres away from becoming the first Colombian rider to win the Tour de France. A couple of hours later, he was 59 kilometres away. And this is why a landslide on the Courmet de Vosgelon, which was supposed to be the first climb on today's route, had forced the second shortened stage in as many days. Here is stage 20 as it was originally drawn up, 130k from Albertville to Val Thorens, going over the Roselon and the Côte de l'Enfoy before tackling the final 33.4km climb. And here's the amended version, just 59.5km long, so basically a sprint directly from Albertville to the foot of the final climb, all that's left of the stage by way of a challenge. Having said that, the weather may still prove a challenge even to the new truncated itinerary.
La situation actuelle, c'est donc qu'on a raccourci l'étape considérablement, puisque sur le tracé prévu, il y a eu hier en fin de journée 3 coulées de boue. Une de ces coulées a endommagé la route, donc ça n'était plus envisageable de passer par là. Des orages sont prévus, oui bien sûr, aujourd'hui, a priori plus forts qu'hier, puisqu'hier il n'y avait pas de menace particulière, alors qu'aujourd'hui on annonce des orages assez forts. C'est aussi pour ça que nous n'avons pas voulu rajouter la descente qui précède Val Thorens, qui est une descente très technique, très sinueuse, et on n'a pas voulu ajouter du danger au danger. Donc l'étape a été réduite à 59 km. Des orages peuvent évidemment survenir à n'importe quel moment dans la journée, a priori pas au-delà, mais on a vu hier que c'est très localisé. À 1 km près, il ne se passe rien. C'est d'où l'incompréhension des coureurs d'ailleurs hier quand on a arrêté la course. On espère qu'on aura moins de malchance qu'hier et qu'on pourra aller jusqu'au bout. A priori, il n'y a aucune raison pour que l'étape ne se déroule pas normalement. Mais il va sûrement pleuvoir.
So the best and closest Tour de France for years looks as though in the end it might be won by a landslide. Although Egan Bernal could credibly argue that yesterday's shortened stage actually prevented him from taking even more time off Julian Alaphilippe. Alaphilippe, for his part, might also argue that he could have got back to the group of other favourites and limited his losses on them, while Tim Kruijswijk was clearly winding up for an attack on the final climb that never came. On stage 20, final climb is all there is.
Although by mid-morning there was a diagonal stripe of mud across the finish line at Val Thorens as a reminder that the final climb itself could still be threatened by the weather. Good conditions down at the start in Albertville as Egan Bernal took his place at the front of the field in the yellow jersey for the first time instead of the white we've become used to seeing him in. And Geraint Thomas prepared to help defend it and ride his own race to move up past Julian Alaphilippe into second overall.
Geraint, only 60 kilometres uphill, more or less 60 kilometres. How are you going to approach it?
I think it's going to be full gas. I think obviously Jumbo-Visma and Bora probably was still up to be on the podium, so I think it's going to be a tough, hard race all the way to the line.
If someone has a bad day today, can they still lose as much time as if they'd had a bad day on the longer route, on the original route?
Not as much maybe, but I think you can still lose quite a lot. It's still 33k uphill, and altitude and things as well, and the weather probably not great, so can still lose quite a lot.
155 men rolled out of Albertville, hoping all of them to make it through today and ride into Paris tomorrow. And 6 of them with a chance of taking the King of the Mountains title. Stage 20 is essentially a mountain sprint for the polka dot jersey, and with 40 points available for the first man to the top, the 5 riders behind Romain Bardet could all take it off him, meaning Egan Bernal could end up with 3 jerseys at the end of the stage. Now, a large group got away in anticipation of the climb, Vincenzo Nibali and Michael Woods among them. But as we join commentary with 25 kilometres to go, Jumbo-Visma are winding up the pace and reeling them in.
George Bennett setting a place for Steven Kruijswijk. Laurens de Plus on his wheel. A man from Nelson in New Zealand is having an excellent Tour de France.
And this is playing perfectly into the hands of Ineos, because the battle for the podium, which is what this is for Jumbo-Visma and Kruijswijk, it will also be for the stage. Let's not forget, I'm sure Kruijswijk is feeling good. If he wants to go for podium, then realistically the pace they have to set to drop Alaphilippe is automatically going to bring the breakaway and bring the stage into play. But it means that Ineos are not having to ride, and Egan Bernal is going to have more teammates. He's still got Castroviejo, Dylan van Baarle, Geraint Thomas and Wout Poels, though Wout Poels is further back in that group, which is a little bit concerning, but we know he rides a bit erratically. He could still come back up, but at the moment, if Wout Poels is bad, this has worked out perfectly for Ineos.
At the front of the race now, these 5 riders have got a 1 minute 56 advantage, 23 kilometres to go. If they take this kind of an advantage into the last 10k, David, they've got a real chance here.
They do have a chance, but they do this. I mean, they're setting a tempo that they can hold for the distance, but the thing is, the difference is that the race behind, when it kicks off, will kick off hugely, and that gap will come down so quickly, and this group knows that. They've just got to try and stay ahead and hope that that race kicks off much later.
Watch out for Vincenzo Nibali though, because he does exploit the situations deep into Grand Tours that he's dropped out of GC contention brilliantly.
And this group is still very big, when you see, and this is what I was saying about the shorter stages. It's not like the longer stages where the attrition wears everybody down, and it's not quite as punchy. Everyone's fresher, so when the race does start, it's so much more violent. this group, if they'd hit this climb, if the stage had been normal, this group